Previously on HomeBrew Detritus.
Dude, so Tucker gave me some Tupperware to put the banana pudding in and take it back home. So when I got home and I put the Tupperware in my refrigerator next to some other Tupperware that I had, I realized that he had done what I do, chicken sandwich, babe.
No, we normally get fried chicken.
Oh, no, not a star wipe. Well, I guess it is a star wipe.
A chocolate star wipe.
Cool, Dad. You got like a fishing cup. That's great.
20 damage.
As the creature shrinks, Razbad, you get a good look at its head, and then you finish it off. I know it was just one hit, but he only had 15 hit points left. I got caught up in the moment. I tried to keep going forward, and it just did not work out well. I'm going to save you guys from having to watch the clusterfuck that was an ending to basically part one of HomeBrew Detritus as we go into part two next week. So everybody hit record.
Test.
Test.
Also testing. There you go.
Test.
Hey, wow, that's weird.
What
It's like
exactly are we
going up.
testing?
Okay.
Audacity.
Audacity.
Yeah, but just the wave files to
Audacity.
see if they're.
Yeah,
popping up.
we're looking at waves.
are.
That's all we are.
Okay.
All right, go. Do your roll call.
Hello?
Ride the waves, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Matt,
Yeah, am I too loud?
Frakes,
Yes, I am here.
Kevin,
Present.
Mahogany,
Oh, hello.
Noob,
Hey.
Terrence.
Yo.
Okay. That's it. Then I can just I got the full file underneath in Zoom, and then I'll be able to just put your name where you say stuff there.
That's ingenious.
Yeah. Here's
Yeah.
hoping.
But yeah.
And if it doesn't work out,
It's probably better than getting the clap.
I love the amount of disdain you infused Terrence's name with.
well, I gave him disdain because I was listening to I'm through with the confessionals from Nerd Bowl. And you did Noob a little dirty, I think, in your confessional. That's all. You know, I'll leave it there.
I want to watch this.
Why you do that to me?
I mean,
Future burn.
I hate you, so.
No. Okay.
Oh, it's gonna be a one-on-one noob show. I'm watching that. Listening to that. Everyone
Next
else
week-
didn't show up. I guess it's just us.
Yeah.
The trial of Terrence Crosby.
Oh, jeez. What are you, like, fucking watcher?
Vault Police.
State your full name for the record, sir.
Terrence Roy Crosby. Yes, Roy.
I'd also like to thank my friend Caitlin for getting me this terrible sticker.
What does it say?
I break for cat boys.
Cat boys. Yeah, I do too.
This is funny as hell.
Oh, God.
It's going on one of y'all's cars. I just haven't decided yet.
Better not.
I mean, I wouldn't take it off. I feel like the point here is to say that I wouldn't mind it, and then he won't put it on my car.
Well, no, if you put it on my car, it'll be a lie. I do not break for cat boys. I will run them over.
Oh, they're harmless.
The way to thin the herd.
Well, I have to put on a Cobra Commander on my truck from the prizes of Nerd Bowl.
Nice.
I have it cut down, and I just need to take some time and wash my car so that I can apply the new sticker properly across the back windshield of my truck.
Your prizes are built on lies, sir.
Lies? What the fuck are you talking about?
Lies, we won.
Yeah, we want fair and square.
Their prizes are built on the backs of our drunkenness.
What?
And built
My
on
whole
the
life
back,
is built on the back of my drunkenness, sir.
and built
Our
on,
plan succeeded.
built on
Get
the
them drunk
creativity.
early, and it'll screw up anything they do from there on out.
No. Your loss is built on the back of bad planning. I know the one thing that you never do to a flustered GM. anything complicated, anything at all. Just nothing complicated, and you will be fine.
That's awful.
I've seen the confessions. I know who's right and who's wrong.
I just gotta say, we've got a great plan versus the other team. Get Frank's drunk as possible. If he's running 2 characters, we can slow down 2 characters with 1 move. Great plan.
Hey, Tucker, how many characters you built for this game or for Nerd Bowl?
How many did I build?
Yeah.
For this past one?
Yeah, the Nerd Bowl.
The Barbarian that Frakes ran, the Anti-Paladin that Josh ran, and the Slayer that Mahogany used.
Just want to point that out there.
That's cool. Let's not rehash this.
But I like cold hash.
I liked the cookies.
I, for one, love Nerd Bowl, not for winning, but just for playing with you guys.
Yeah.
Just for
Well,
playing.
that's because you didn't win.
Also,
You
he's going
couldn't
for.
love it for winning.
All I'm saying is, I put in the work. I learned my character. I rolled the dice. I made the decisions.
Kidding.
I have never won
I
at Nerd Bowl, yet I always come back.
have
Frank's is-
only won at Nerd Bowl.
Frank's is
It's
angling
true,
for the
though.
miscongeniality prize, but
No, I enjoy being around you guys and eating the food and hanging out and playing and getting drunk.
I'm glad you enjoy it because there were some shenanigans. Their plan was to make you more hammered, and I think it worked.
It definitely did.
Definitely did.
I was drunker than I have been in a long time,
Yeah. We
I
can
was,
tell.
except for the ayahuasca trip.
In
That's
Oregon.
a different kind of drunk.
in Oregon.
That's not
You went
drunk,
somewhere
right?
where it's legal, a church or something.
Yeah. I'm legally allowed to do it. I am a part of a church that is one of my ceremonies that I'm allowed to do.
Oh.
I
Okay.
can do it in any state in this great nation. In this nation,
Is there a church where you can do identity theft?
we could build one.
I'm broke. I'm just curious.
Then all you
build
need to
it,
do
they
is
will
start
come.
a church.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's right.
Any
people
church.
people give you credit card numbers.
Yeah. And they're W-2s apparently.
Oh, Jesus.
What are we doing, Toker?
Yeah. What are we doing today?
I don't know. I'm probably gonna cut this. This is like the 5th time he's talked about that fucking ayahuasca trip. That's probably gonna get cut right out. You made the same comment in the confessional booth, so I've listened to that twice today now.
Did I?
You did. You were like, I haven't been this drunk since I was on ayahuasca. I heard you say that very thing on my computer 3 hours
Please cut
ago.
that clip into this.
That's not the point of this. The point of this is to hang out with each other, get drunk, which I am doing admirably. I don't believe I've been this inebriated around other people since I went on the mushroom DMT trip amidst a group of other hippies. Well, I say other of hippies.
And all the other ones. Just put it all in there together.
He had a fucking good time. I don't want to narc on him.
Yeah, no, but if I'm turning into that guy, I need to be aware of it.
You're not turning into that
Oh,
guy.
yeah. You've always been that guy.
Joe Rogan likes elk meat. You like ayahuasca. Hey, it's your
Whoa,
little
whoa.
stick.
Whoa. You can get high off elk meat?
What?
If you leave it out long enough.
All right.
If you feed it ayahuasca,
I think it's time we have
That guy.
a pop-up dining experience.
And afterwards, you'll see things pop up.
So I've been listening to our older episodes.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, we've come a long way.
I think so.
Yeah, I do too. But we used to maybe have 3 minutes of banter, then we jumped right into the story.
Oh, good. Yeah, I wish we could go back to that.
I'm gonna try, but I like
right.
our bullshitting. But now there's a whole show dedicated to that. Noob show. Check out the link below.
That's good.
Everybody seems to have a cute nickname for the little box. We need to come up with a cute nickname for the box. I suggest It's like the little thing. It's the description part of the YouTube video. Everybody has, like, fucking Matt Colville calls it the doobly doo, and the creationist cat calls it the Christ box. I say we call it the dice box.
Oh, there we go. Click on the dice box.
Yeah, look in the dice box.
That's the show more part of it? Like we hit show more? Gotcha.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's all news to me. I had no idea.
I didn't know. I didn't know what it was called, but other than that, I just called it the show more.
I feel like I'm very out of touch for someone who's trying to reach millions.
I mean, I've only ever heard it called the description. So that's all.
Yeah, but I watch a lot of different channels where people get cutesy about shit. So.
Oh, those kind of channels with the cat boys.
No.
Yeah,
You said cutesy. You said cutesy.
And Noob is gonna sneak that bumper sticker onto your car.
No.
Yeah.
It's probably gonna go on my computer.
He breaks for cat boys. It's always been him.
So last week we ended. It just ended. It was it's footage that nobody outside of this group will ever see.
Who's phone?
Oh, and our Patreon,
Actually,
right?
only one person in this group will see.
You all
he's
lived
the
it.
editor.
You all know what happened.
I only
I
have
don't want to do it
vague
again. I
recollections.
don't want to watch that again.
I don't either.
I have cast off drunkenness from Matt. I don't remember any.
In preparation, this is the first week and maybe 5 that we did not have Popeye's chicken sandwiches before the show.
I did. Not today. I'll tell that later.
Yeah. So if I start to get sweaty again, we'll know that Arby's is just as bad. Let's jump in.
Sploosh.
That means I have to do stuff though, right? Yep.
Yes, it's
Yeah, kinda.
That puts the
I
onus
could
on
if you
you.
want.
This episode is brought to you by Salt.
So before we get into it, no, we're not. Salt's the devil. It kills more people than cars do.
Yeah, but it makes tequila
It
taste
is
so good.
delicious. Yeah.
Salt.
It makes food taste.
Tequila, that's the other liquor I like. I forgot to mix
Salt.
that.
It makes food taste.
Y'all done?
No.
There's Angry Frakes. That's who
Yeah, I
we
was
are.
like, we're not gonna have Debbie Downer face.
It's a
feel
digital
not
one
Oh my
this
god, what
time.
have you been?
So this episode is going to be a little different than other ones we've done.
All right.
I gave homework, and some people went above and beyond, and some people turned in what they wanted to turn in. But we're going to do, that was Noob, yep. He was super descriptive with what he wanted to happen. He did say magical scorpion in one sentence, so we can look forward to that happening.
It's not a bad way.
Does he
Magical
yet
scorpion.
know the name of his god and how to pronounce her name?
Oh, yeah. Will this be the session?
Her name is Sarah.
He's on a first name basis with her, so shut up.
My god has a first name. It's Oscar. Never mind. Go on.
Nope.
That is how I learned how to spell baloney, though.
It's Bologna.
Yeah. B-O-L-O-G-N-A.
Just keep trying. Just keep trying.
But normally when I am the game master for a game, I have, here's the combat that we're going to do. And here's a combat you can do. And that's how I GM'd for most of my life. I show up with plot A and plot B. So I'm going to try and step out of my comfort zone for this. And we're going to do a character spotlight. So we've been in a dungeon for like 11 episodes, I think. Give or take one.
A long time.
11 or 12.
Yeah, it's been up. We were in the Dwarven map for a long time, and it's huge. And if you go to our Discord, you can see how huge that fucking map is. But it took us a while to get through it.
Yeah, that's
checked
full
it out.
1/3
Yeah, I
of our
checked it out.
content so far has been this dungeon.
Right.
It was 11 nights at the museum. It was a long time.
So I thought it would be fun to get to know the characters that each of you are playing. So I was like, after this happens, we're gonna have a month or so in game of downtime. And while that sounds like riveting content to record in real time, we're not going to do that. So with some editing magic, we've got some stories to tell. And we're just going to see how that goes. But we're going to start off with basically the conclusion of the last episode.
The real conclusion, right?
The actual conclusion.
Not the actual one.
No, not that one. Look, I deleted that. There's no way to watch it. It was so
I still
bad.
have the footage.
The deep shame was so abiding, it just had to be wiped away.
Difficulties.
I'm gonna go in Mahogany's room with a giant magnet to get rid of that footage.
I'm saving it for the blooper reel one of these days.
Oh, God. That's a lot of editing.
Oh, you think you're sad
The
today? Remember this? Oh.
Back in the day.
We'll call it the Sonder cut.
Oh no.
No.
No, it won't.
We plan on keeping it full screen.
The somber cut.
With the fall of the giant and the dwarven doors open once again, our crew finds themselves both profusely congratulated and questioned for several hours. That is until a booming voice quiets those gathered in the aftermath. Leave these saviors of Yharnam be. All the Protectorate kneel as the dwarven warriors make way for the King of Yharnam, Lord Cromwell. With a gentle eye and a soft wave of the hand, he beckons the crew to follow him. Silently, they make their way back to the bar where they first encountered a Rito Bonefinger. While the drunk kleptomaniac isn't anywhere to be seen, a few familiar and a few new faces can be seen seated around a large table. Covered with fresh food and drink, the crew takes a seat. 4 noble-looking dwarves, the head archivist, Inquisitor Joreth, and Task all stare at your characters as the king takes his seat. Protectorates guarding the halls from listeners, and says, in a kingly voice, "So you've been busy." We fade out. As we fade back in, the dwarven lords and lordesses share a concerned face with King Cromwell. Nothing of your adventures was left out. Almost nothing. Tass smoothly worked his way into your storytelling as your meeting with the Glade got close. It was then that I found them beset by winged tribes of harpies. The treasure already secured from the mountain ridge. He goes on to lead the story till you make your way back to Yharnam in your tale. There's a few shocked expressions from those gathered as he tells of the resurrection of Akage, but you can tell the king already knew of that part. After the story, the dwarves go on to congratulate you on your victory over the dark forces in their time of need. As compensation, the magical weapons and items you forged and found are yours to keep. It is at this point that the king makes his way. He seems satisfied with your story. The dwarves make their way out. Task and Inquisitor Joreth come up to you as the rest of those gathered tend to leave and say, "It's been a busy few weeks for most of you. We're going to give you some much needed rest. But as soon as we know anything more about this Dark Lady, you will be on call. We're afraid that, well, with all the Protectorate and dwarves now knowing who you are, your secrecy to the Order will no longer be sustained. So that part of your mission with us is over. But you are still members of the Order. We will be in touch." All of you leave to go to your respective homes. Nim, as you're about to leave, a well-dressed dwarf lordess is waiting for you with a small retinue. She's older. She comes up and she lays a hand over your arm as you go to pass, and she goes, "Master Nim."
Yes.
Through the storytelling, it was brought to my attention that most of your party were gifted magical boons from the blacksmithery.
That's correct. Yes, it benefited our group and led to our success here, I would say.
Yes, you weren't properly thanked, I feared. I would like to offer you access to our books.
It's a most gracious gift, and I accept.
Just come back whenever you've been rested, and we can go over knowledge together.
Thank you, madam. I greatly appreciate that.
Okay. And thus your journey to open the dwarven doors comes to an end. What is it that our crew is going to do with their downtime?
Well, I intend to have a very long, relaxing, quiet time at my business. Trying to build things up, and now that we've got a little fame under our belt and don't think people won't talk, they'll be coming our way just to see us.
After the events, the dwarves were extra generous to the half-orc Razbad. They knew Grizzleknock and were sorry to hear of his tragic passing. But at the least, they could send him his... Jesus. After the events, the dwarves were extra generous on the hat. I was going to give you shit about reading. I'm terrible. All right.
All right. Marker, take 5.
Thank you. After the events, the dwarves were extra generous to the half-orc Razbad. They knew Grizzleknock and were sorry to hear of his tragic passing. But at the least, they could send his apprentice out better than he came in. With the ritual taking some time to complete, the cursed ring was removed from Razbad's fingers at long last. They even appointed him an assistant to help him get the blacksmithing business back up and running. Having one of us from under the mountain work a shop in Yarnum properly should go a long way to generate you additional business, Mr. Raz. Krasnuk is definitely up for the challenge. It takes time still for Raz to settle back into his old habits of the forge, and a few weeks will pass before he finds time to go through his monster lore books, handed down in parts from his former master. But inside he finds a new page, and with a trembling hand, he begins to read the note that has a faint blue glow emanating from the page.
Dear Razbad, I know that you were given my will and testament, son, but I didn't put a final word in there. Over many years on the roads, I've made a few enemies, but even more friends. It's how I got you this note. The road doesn't end at death, my boy. No, it's practically endless. Anyways, I wanted you to know that I'm proud of you and believe that you'll go far. One last gift. That hammer is more than sentimental value. If ever the road takes your feet again, and I believe it will, if it ever takes you to Wolfwood Keep, look up the master blacksmith by the name of Adrian McGrow. He'll tell you the rest. A road mystery is my parting gift. Sincerely, old Grizz.
Yay!
And scene.
All right.
Very nice.
Nicely done, sir.
All right.
Thank you.
And congratulations on your new apprentice, Nipple Slip, or whatever the fuck his name is.
Should congratulate him more on the fact that he didn't have that cursed ring on his finger anymore.
Yeah.
That's the
I'm
big
gonna,
one.
I'm gonna miss the extra damage you always take. It
Don't
was like
worry.
one of the team.
Just for
We'll
old
have
time's
combat
sake,
soon.
Kevin, take 1 damage.
As I stub my toe, the ring flares one final time.
This sentimental message will self-destruct.
Saunders stood leaned against the railing of the ship, peering out over the ocean, the familiar rock of the boat beneath her, her mind wandering to the vision that she had had in the chamber behind the dwarven doors. She couldn't get over this vision, her father on his boat carrying the head of Cullen and the body of Feisty. She had known at the time that it couldn't have actually happened. Feisty was there alive, nestled safely in her robes, and she had seen Cullen die, but it was not by her father's hand. However, she did have enough experience with visions to know that they were rarely literal. Her father may have something to do with whatever was going on in Yarnum, and now was her opportunity to find out what, if any, connection existed. She felt the heat of anger start to rise at the thought of her obligation to the Lord Cromwell and his anti-magic agenda, but she took a deep breath and turned her mind to the sea. She was back in the wind and the waves. She let the fire inside of her be drenched by the spray coming off of the waves as they lapped at the side of the boat. She was going home, but she must hurry if she wanted to get there and back in time. She had scratched a quick note for Cuppy, explaining that she would be gone for another 2 weeks at least, and apologizing for abusing the young woman's generosity yet again. She had signed the note with a promise, 10 days paid vacation upon her return, and had weighed it down with a small sack containing the next fortnight's salary in advance, and a little bit extra on top. After checking her shop, after checking around her shop and rooms one last time, she had to add a line at the bottom of the note. My little companion has taken to wandering, and I cannot await her return. If she turns up, feed her and see that she is comfortable until I get back. That's it.
That's it.
That's it for that.
I like it. Inside the Brazen Bee, Akage sits in a darkened corner table, yet again. He stares into his untouched ale that one of the tavern's dwarven patrons purchased for him. His hand grips the scabbard of his father's sword sitting on the table before him. As each day passes, he finds it more difficult to remember his father's face. It wasn't as though he spent much time with the man before leaving Kiyodamayo Manor. Yet now, he gave me the enunciation, and I just feel like I'm saying mayonnaise funny. Yet now, his dwarvish reflection no longer holds even the barest resemblance to his father. Akage stares into his drink absent-mindedly, pushing his thumb against the hilt. A finger width of the gleaming blade is exposed with a soft click. With a slightly louder stick, he pulls the sword hilt flush to the scabbard again. Click, snick, click, snick, click, snick. His other hand once more reaches into the breast pocket of his robe and retrieves the letter. He unfolds the fine paper to, once more, read the carefully penned characters. The calligraphy is only slightly marred by the dried splatters of his mother's tears.
To my dearest child, Akage, writing these words feels as though I am pulling my own heart out of my chest. Yet what must be done can be endured. I brought you to these shores, so distant from everything and everyone you know, in order to protect you. All my actions have been done to that end. I have watched with pride as you grew into a man of honor and resolve. Your father would be so proud if he could only see you. Which only makes these words more painful to write. It has become clear from my own failures there is nothing more I can do to protect you. In fact, I have become a liability to you, a weakness that could be exploited to hurt you. Moreover, though you speak no words of complaint, I can see in your eyes how you suffer from your transformation. Yet there are none in Yarnum with the skills to return you to your true nature. I can no longer give you protection, but I still wish to be of some help to you. Therefore, I am leaving. I will find a way to restore you. Know this, my son. I will always love you, no matter your form. But believe me as I say, I understand the pain of being in the wrong shape. There are many more words I wish to say, but my tears are causing the ink to run. Do not worry for me. I will return. Your loving mother, Jade.
Kage feels his own tears welling in his eyes. Now, all of his family is gone.
Multi-hued lights spring into existence, illuminating Akage's darkened corner. His head jerks up as his hand darts to his face to swipe away the tears welling up in his eyes.
You're just sitting here in the dark.
Dorian Honeybriar asks from across the table, the swirl of sourceless lights dancing about his upraised hand, causing flickering shadows about.
Mr. Dorian,
Akage asks, casting a meaningful glance at the swirling lights.
are you certain you should be doing that?
Doing what?
With a startled look at his own light source, Dorian snaps his fingers and the lights disappear.
Oh, right. I keep forgetting this town's uptight laws about magic. No need, right? We can both see in the dark fairly well.
Age only nods, his face impassive.
Well, anyway.
Dorian says and sits down in one of the empty chairs.
Why so glum, chum? We're heroes. You shouldn't be celebrating... Sorry. You should be celebrating the successful conclusion of our more recent harrowing adventure, not sitting here in the dark, fondling your sword.
Akage is sitting in the dark because he is not interested in accompanying or celebrating anything, but he also doesn't want to be rude to one of his companions. He suppresses a sigh and replies,
Only dwelling on family concerns. It is nothing. How can I help you, Mr. Dorian?
So glad you asked, Akage.
Dorian grins at him. If Akage did not know better, he would think that smile is calculated to lower his guard. But he does know better, doesn't he?
I was thinking.
Dorian says and leans forward, planting his elbows on the table and drops his voice conspiratorially.
That place we went to, out in the woods, you know, the glade. I've never felt more at peace than I did there. Seemed to me you had a similar experience, right?
Akage nods. He has to admit he had never felt so at home than he felt within the glade, not even while at his father's home.
That is accurate. Why do you ask?
You see, I was thinking of going back there, and since you look like you're suffering from a case of the mullygrubs, well, I figured why don't I just see if you wanted to go back as well.
Dorian smiles broadly and raises his eyebrows in a projection of such sincere earnestness that Akage can't help but to smile back.
I think I would like that, Mr. Dorian.
Akage hears himself say before he even knew he was going to respond.
No. Call me Dorian, please. I work for a living. Were you going to drink that?
Akage barely begins to shake his head before Dorian stands up, grabs the ale, and begins to drink.
Bah.
Dorian slams the tankard down hard enough for the ale to slosh out and shakes his head vigorously.
Dwarven bitter stout. Ugh. Why would anyone drink that? Anyway, come on. Let's get a move on.
Tonight?
Akage looks up at Dorian incredulously.
But it is already dark.
Exactly.
Dorian says as he sweeps his cloak around his shoulders.
If we don't get through the gate before the Protectorate closes them, we'll be stuck inside the walls until tomorrow. And you've got to get those short legs going now, so hop foot, young Akage.
Swept up by the half-elf's enthusiasm and surprising streak of altruism, Akage smiles in spite of himself and stands. He slides his father's katana through the sash tied at his waist, collects the glaive propped against the wall beside him and follows Dorian out into the night. With a finger held to his lips and a wink, Dorian tells Akage that the two of them need to stick to the shadows and move as quietly as possible.
We can't have those Protectorate bureaucrats keeping us from finding a little much-needed peace, right?
Dorian seems to treat their skulking through the city as if it were a game, grinning when they dodge a patrol and chuckling softly when the Protectorate troops pass out of earshot. Kage finds himself smiling alongside Dorian. The man's devil-may-care attitude was infectious. Hours ahead of the witching hour, Kage and Dorian are outside the walls and moving through the wilderness beyond Yarnum. The forest around the city teems with creatures and beasts that will gladly maul and eat the two of them.
Ugh.
The sounds of those animals echo through the woods. Now, Dorian and Akage employ stealth more as a matter of survival than the simple game it had been within the city walls. Akage nods to himself in surprise at how silently Dorian slips through the underbrush. For a man who appears to be a city-born fop, Dorian moves with more stealth through the wilderness than the dexterous Akage. Eventually, they find a likely place and begin setting up a meager camp for what was left of the night. Once they finish, both Akage and Dorian are too exhausted for conversation. The next morning, they set out at a brisk pace, hoping to cover the remaining distance as quickly as possible. By the time they reach the rock wall, which protects the location of the glade, fatigue racks Akage's limbs. However, remember the feeling of peace and tranquility from his first visit. Anticipation swells within Akage's chest, washing away his weariness. His fingers drum against the haft of his father's glaive, impatiently.
Now, where was that?
Dorian's voice cuts through Akage's reminiscence.
Here we go.
As he says that, pulling the cunningly hidden lever, the wall of stone disappears and light floods out into the darkness of the night. Kage's breath catches in his throat as he thinks of speaking to the glade again. He glances towards Dorian. The half-elf must see something in Akage's anticipation in the dwarven face. He steps back to make a slight bow as he says,
After you, my friend. I sense you might need this more than I do. Sorry, look, I do that again. After you, my friend. I sense that you might need this visit more than I do.
That is all the encouragement Akage needs. A huge smile breaks across his broad face as he says,
Thank you, Dorian. Thank you.
He turns and walks into the glade. The scent of loamy earth and new green growth is the first thing Akage notices, a smell that takes him back to the days of his youth, tending the gardens with his mother at his father's manor. Several varieties of birdsong decorate the air with beautiful sounds. The deeper he moves through the cave towards the glade, bursting with vibrant life, the more his feeling of peace blossoms within him. Kage steps into the clearing that is the glade. A sigh of absolute contentment escapes him as his eyes fall on the tree in the center of the clearing. The image of a beautiful woman grows out of the tree, her eyes open to meet Akage's. A radiant smile brightens her face, a face that bears more of a resemblance to his mother than the first time he had been here. Her eyes fill with a compassionate sadness as she regards him. Ah, there you are. Her voice reverberates through Akage's mind, his entire being. I have been eagerly awaiting your return. Though your material appearance has altered some, I will ever know you, child of the first world. Kage's heart swells, near to bursting at her words. To be truly known for who and what he is by such a glorious being is incredible. He feels tears of joy stream down his face, wetting his newly grown beard. Such peace and acceptance. And he of two worlds accompanies you, the glade says, her tone full of hospitality. In the overwhelming emotions of the moment, Akage never heard the soft slither of Dorian's short sword being drawn from its sheath, not until it was too late.
Dorian gives the short sword another half twist to make the blood pump out of Akage's heart faster. No need to prolong this. In the boy's eyes, he can see anger, confusion, and most of all betrayal, all the usual emotions. He ignores what are undoubtedly some difficult final moments as the young warrior slumps to the ground and Dorian yanks his sword free, pulling out a handkerchief, wiping the blade clean. Now, on to business. Okay.
I want to know now.
Yo.
Murderer.
I don't know. If
Well,
y'all
first
see-
character to die twice there, Franks.
Well, what's wrong?
Goosebumps, yo.
He fucking died.
Amon knew the one time he had visions with his goddess Selket, that it should be possible again. The ritual just had to be right. It had to be perfect. He spends a week fasting, He has a ritual to infuse magical divine energies into the husk of a scorpion from his hometown. He draws circles in the sands at particular times of night and day, makes himself bleed religiously, and he meditates and he prays. And then it clicks. Sonder, you've been on your island now for about 2 or 3 days. It's this night that you're having horrible dreams, pops and sounds and flashes of light. But then it all clears. Amon, as the divine powers finally flow through you, your mind's eye takes you back to your home. The desert continent known to most as simply sands. You begin to follow the tracks up to a hill to stand beside your scorpion, goddess of death. Sonder, you're back at the campsite you mentioned that you were at earlier in this adventure. The one that Father Solman led you to after his death. The one where you first saw in her full glory your goddess.
My Lady Sarenrae?
Yes, child.
Why do you... fuck.
Sorry.
That's how I would talk to a god.
Sarenrae, why do you fuck?
Why do you fuck?
Oh, I fuck because it feels good, child.
Now it's canon.
I am what you call a sex addict. It doesn't even feel good anymore.
My Lady Sarenrae,
Yes, child.
why do you come to me this evening?
There is much for us to discuss. Amon,
Yes.
my young priest, Amon, Selket says sadly. You try so hard to see me, and I fear I haven't much to tell you for your troubles. But maybe clarity will be all you require. Ask your goddess what you may.
Yes, my lady. What does this game you talked about earlier have to do with you?
It's at this point, Amon, you feel the presence of another in this vision. Sonder, you feel the presence of another in this vision. While standing in the desert, you feel a cool forest breeze. Sonder, you feel a warm, dry heat. And the two gods' voices speak as one. The return of the Dark Lady means more than you could know. It has upset a power balance for the gods of this world.
What will you have me do to help in your aid?
Simply by being alive on the island gives us the power to intervene slightly. The Dark Lady was denied much through her separation, but the island is hers.
Does the Dark Lady touch the Lord Cromwell? Does she guide his mind?
We cannot see all who she touches. We do not believe she touches the Lord Cromwell. We believe she saves him for last.
What is the end goal of all of this?
With the rise of a new god comes a new set of power for the gods here to maintain. Our dwindling power would feed her if she was to be whole again.
Are we meant to stop her from becoming whole again?
Oh yes, you and many others will try, but you are our pawns, our blades.
And if I am to fall?
For some of your crew and the people there are many followers for many gods. But you're special to me, Amon. You're the only one who carries my word on that island.
My lady, my father always warned me against going anywhere near Yarnum. Could he be in league with this dark lady?
Your father's business is his own now, I'm afraid. But as much as your father did not want you to be on that island, my will is and always will be more powerful than his, and I wanted you there. For you are closer to me than any of my others. And at that, you two are swept back into your bodies. Scene.
Boom! Your daddy ain't shit.
Good, y'all.
Kevin.
Damn.
That was some powerful exposition.
Yes. Exposition dump.
That's
Power
like
of the gods.
that was better than Dorian doing what
That's
Cullen
more
wanted to do all those
That-
years
that's,
ago.
That's an episode title right there.
Exposition dump.
Taking an exposition dump.
It's a dinky joke, and it is what the episode is.
Expedition Deuce.
As the days and weeks go by following the events in the Dwarven Keep, Nim Calmorn is driven by insatiable curiosity to discover more of the island's group's history, particularly the giant folk that his vision seemed to show as the original inhabitants. He has made good use of the archives in Yarnum, as well as the new access he has to the Dwarven libraries. It doesn't take long for him to realize his studies and research will consume him for years to come. However, in the back of his mind, he feels the monad prodding him. Images of destruction and imbalances plague his dreams at night. Day by day, he understands his bargain has not been fulfilled, and that the victory in the Dwarven city was but a small step. In the mornings, and with increasing regularity that often coincides with his night visions, Nim sees the ferret, Feisy, sneaking away from his rooms. It does not take Nim long to ascertain the connection between Feisy and the dreams. As if on cue, Nim awakes the next morning with Feisy a few inches from his face. He does not flinch and returns the creature's stare. She moves forward and touches her nose to his. Instantly, his vision blurs, and images flood his mind as it translates the images into a message from his lord and masters, the monad. A fair trade, service for freedom, a bargain struck yet unfulfilled. You idle while the imbalance grows once more. A single pebble removed for balance does not restore it for long. Take with you our emissary and know that our eye is upon you. The strands of the multiverse draw taut, but we are one, and you are one, and we are also one. As the vision faded, Nim realizes power moving through him and immediately understood what it was. The ritual of bonding. And he was bonding to Feisy as a familiar. His hand shot to the scar on his neck, and he released the power, the ritual incomplete. The ferret looked at him quizzically and cocked its head.
You are not mine to bond, little one, no matter what our gods may think. We will speak to Miss Sonder on this matter, and I will tell her all I know.
The little bell over the door chimed as Nim entered Perfectly Normal Antiques.
Oh, hello! Welcome to Perfectly Normal Antiques and Pawn. Euvirginia Doubtfire at your service, dear. Oh no, pish posh. That's not it. Of course my name isn't Euvirginia. What a silly name. It's actually Mariska Hargitay. At your service, sir. Hang on a minute. That's not right. That can't be. Was it Amanda? Amanda Hug and Kiss. That's it. Hang on a minute. Too many to keep track of. I'm forgetting myself. Haven't been called Amanda Hug and Kiss in many months now. At least not by anyone around here, if you know what I mean. And I think you might. Tall, pale, and scarred. Aha! I've got it now, mate. Now it's all coming clear to me. I'm myself again, for now at least. And this self is called Elizabeth Cup and Spoon. A bit of a mouthful if I'm to be consulted on the matter. I'd suppose it'd make everyone else's day easier if you just called me Cuppy. Yeah, that's what Miss Sonder calls me. Well, love, go on then. It's Cuppy at your service. What can I do for you?
So, Nim is taken aback a little bit, since this is probably the most words he's heard all morning. And, but, Miss Cuppy.
Aye, Cuppy.
Yes, is Miss Sonder in?
That little roundabout. She's off again. Gone again. Weeks now it's been.
I see.
You know, she did make me a promise, so that means she'll definitely be back within the next 4 days.
Oh, that's soon. Very good. So
can I take a message, or can I interest you in anything up here?
Do you have any tea?
Fresh out of tea, love.
Oh.
Coffee. Plenty of coffee to go around.
I'll take a cup of coffee then. And
come on in.
I'll have a cup of coffee with Miss Cuddles.
Cuppy.
Cuppy. And I will leave a message with her that Sandra's friend Nim stopped by and planned to stop by in a few days. Again.
All right. That was
weird. Plus the coffee was really good.
Good. That was weird.
Knowing that Sonder is out of town and what is to happen between you and Feisty being the will of your gods, it makes that little magical trinket you picked up from the dwarves seem all that more important. Compensation, if you will.
A deal is struck, but there is work to be done. The Salters are gone, dead the rumors say, and the city's underworld is a tinderbox. Down on the wharf at the Knotted Net Tavern, Alehorn Kearns, the leader of the Dockside Boys, falls face first into his stew, stone dead. Poison. Inexplicably, 2 other gangs, the Jesters and the Bronze Bone Mob, have members there that night, and things get ugly. In the more cultured parts of the city, Lord Castenbill has his own troubles. Someone found out about the secret cache of magic objects he has been collecting over the years, and that someone is blackmailing him. The note says, 500 gold whenever I request it. It is a small price to pay for secrecy and security. Don't worry, I won't be greedy. Grimly, Castenbill assembles the payment. What else can he do? Protectorate has been more dogged than ever about magic. And currently, 11 other high-profile people receive a note. The same blackmailer. Most comply. In the back alleys of the Guild District, the hideout of the Steel Demons gets raided by the Protectorate. One of the guardsmen, who none of the others had worked with before, laughs about how they got sold out by their leader to save his own hide. Those Steel Demons who escaped enacted grim retribution on the traitor. A local banker's wife breathes a sigh of relief as her husband rants and raves. Their personal vault has been burgled, and they can't even go to the guards to report the missing items. Magic objects he has inherited from various safes of dead patrons of the bank, both illegal and stolen. She's so glad to be rid of them, she doesn't even mention the new servant she hired 2 days previously hasn't reported back to work today. The Kettle Street Kings have been laying low while the other gangs erupt into chaos, but each one receives a note written in blood with the name and address of a loved one on it. A simple word: disband. Hargill Dullance, a bartender, comes to work at the Merry Merchant one day and is shocked to find a local scallywag named Rito Bumfinger, who he has tossed out on his ear several times, directing some workmen who are taking down the bar's sign. It seems Bumfinger has bought the place out and is now calling it the Secret Still. Hargill is given 3 weeks' pay as severance and dismissed. Rito has his own staff, it seems. Hargill knows this place is gonna go downhill fast. What he doesn't know is that Rito now owns the whole adjoining warehouse block. The Salters are not all dead, as it turns out. Some survive, lying low, while the other gangs are gutting each other like wild dogs. One of their number, Jarrah Crisscross, stumbles upon another survivor she thought dead, Slick Mick. Slick Mick tells her this town is too hot for him right now, and he's jumping a ship for the mainland where he has a few connections. But there's a guy she and the rest should go talk to. He's rolling in cash and has some interesting plans. Numerous conversations like this occur. Many of the city's gangs are weak or finished, and the smart and living members are looking for greener pastures. Some get recruited fresh, getting noticed for their talents. Many have nowhere else to go, but there is someone who's looking for talent. Over 24 of them assemble at the newly renovated Secret Still for a private party. They wait sipping their ales among a few old friends and a lot of old enemies. But the ensemble is impressive, some of the best in town. Soon, from out of the shadows of the stairs leading to the basement, a voice emerges. Sad state of affairs the city has gotten itself into. Boots echo on the steps, and the few murmurs of speech die out as the voice draws closer. Monsters and undead running wild in the shadows, people dying. The footsteps reach the basement door, and a shadowed form appears. Our people. Our shadows. The shape reveals itself as a man in solid black leathers, with a short cape and hooded cowl. Most strikingly, he wears a full-face alabaster mask that is painted with a single wide, disturbing eye and sinister grin. We live in the darkness, and we should be thriving there. Instead, we cower like the marks who only go out in the daylight. It should gall you. We should own the night, and we should be using the fears of the good people of this city to fill our pockets with gold. The collected assembly of young rogues stare at the dark, masked man. He walks to the wide hearth, and the shadows of the room deepen as he goes. He stands backlit against the crimson flames. "And who in the Nine Hells are you?" asks a former member of the Salters, trying to hide a tremor in his voice. "I'm a man who wants to carve out a kingdom in the shadows. I want to make you my knights. You can call me Mr. Grin if you need to use a name. And if you want to be rich, you can call me the boss." An apprehensive murmur comes over the room. The same former Salter speaks up again. "And what if we ain't interested?" "There's the door. Walk out now, free and clear. But if you stay, you're in. You savvy?" The former Salter gathers his things, and so do 2 others from around the room. The door is open and closes on the cold night air. "Good, good. Welcome, my new friends, my new family. Welcome to the Shadow Chalice." Now ostentation and hope seems to swell in the group of assembled rogues. The tense mood lightens. "Before we go any further, though," Mr. Gren pulls out a basket filled with small vials of green liquid. "I would like everyone to take a dose of this antidote for the poison that was in your ale." The group goes dead silent and quickly downs the antidotes. Behind his smiling mask, the new guildmaster smiles too.
Nim approaches Saunder's shop, this time with Ficey and both a gift he retrieved from the Dwarven Kingdom. He opens the door. Bling, bling, bling.
As I open the door, Nim looks around. Feisty kind of scampers off deeper into the store. She's apt to do. Nim's looking for Sonder, or perhaps even Cuppy again. Miss Sonder, are you in?
Is that you, Nim? Come on, come along. Come along in.
I will enter the room.
It's nearing closing time. Would you do me a favor and lock that door behind you? Come on in, have a glass of wine.
Nim locks the door, and is there like a little sign you could flip over?
Yeah, flip the close sign.
Yeah, flip the sign over. Come sit down.
Sorry, my My associate told me that you stopped in while I was away.
Oh,
Sorry I missed you.
Not at all. She's quite talkative and needs to brush up on her coffee skills.
I won't tell her you said that.
No, honestly, she was a delight. I'm glad you made it back safely. Nim is it appears haggard, a little bit tired, somewhat as if he's not sleeping well, and from the nightmares and visions things he's been having over the last few weeks as well. So, but Feisty will be with you, as that's what she came in to find. So.
Yeah, you look a bit worse for the wear there. What seems to be wrong with you?
To be honest, I've not slept well. Bad dreams and such. And your travels were well?
They were, ups and downs. I had to take a quick trip back to the place of my birth. Went to check on some things. Didn't really learn too much, but I'm back.
You have family there?
I do. Nim, I don't talk to people much, but you seem to be one of those people that I can trust, so I'm going to tell you some things, and I'm going to ask that you don't repeat them.
Absolutely. You have my confidence.
Okay. So I went on a trip to see my father. He's we have a kind of we have a complicated relationship, the two of us. He, from spending time with me, that I have certain gifts that have been bestowed upon me by my lady.
Very beneficial gifts, I would say.
Yeah. Well, those gifts, beneficial may they be, some of them come at a price. And that price is something that could be used against me if that were your intention. Most people, wouldn't do such a thing. And you wouldn't think that a father would, but mine did. He used I guess it's better if I just tell you what it is. With my gifts come a curse. A curse where if I make a promise, I have to keep it, or I am physically sickened.
An affliction, you're saying an affliction comes upon you if you were to break your word or your promise.
Exactly. My father used this. Maybe I should explain. I have a gift to know the truth of people's words and their intentions. And my father used that to build his empire. Some people call him a pirate. Some people call him a bootlegger. He calls himself an entrepreneur, whatever it may be. He saw that gift in me as a child and used it to help him discern the best deals to make. He used it to help him figure out who had the best magic items, who kept the best of everything, and how to get it from them. And when I wanted to leave, he used my curse to make me stay with him.
And yet you're here, so you were able to break it in some way.
The curse, I mean. No, I dealt with it. The curse only lasts for so long, thank goodness, but it's not breaking up the promise and enduring the pain of the curse is not done lightly.
And your goddess, the deity that you serve, inflicts this on you?
My deity deals in all things all things have a balance. You give and you take. She gives me protection from fire, and she allows me to use the fire. She gives me the ability to heal. She gives me all of these great things, and all she asks is that I am true to my promises. I can get around it, as long as I choose my words carefully. I don't have to make a promise, but if I do, I cannot break from it lightly. So...
In truth, my lady, the burden that my own deity puts upon me is similar in that they too seek balance, and enforce penalties upon me when I do not fulfill promises. Much, in all honesty, much of the condition I'm in now is because I've not yet fulfilled the promise that I've made to them.
Is there something that I can do to assist you in fulfilling this promise? I understand how uncomfortable it is to be on the other end of that.
Yes, I believe there is. As I've mentioned before, I was taken away from this place decades ago and survived as a slave of sorts to a demon. And I was placed in bondage to that demon for many decades. During that time, I had given up most hope of escape, but I continued to thrive and to hold on to myself. But one day, a being manifested itself to me and offered me a deal. Freedom for service. Which was, I still to this day do not think it was a bad deal to take. And so I took it. I later realized that they were the monad, which, though not an evil being, they seek the balance of the multiverse of our worlds and other worlds. And I am to be their tool here. And as part of that agreement, they freed me to be their tool. I had hoped that our endeavors in the Dwarven Keep had fulfilled that, but they have not. That is why I'm here today, because they've been contacting me through your friend's pet.
Feisty?
Feisty, yes, that is her name.
So that's where she's been the little roustabout.
She has been visiting me while I sleep. And the monad have been talking to me through her while you've been away. And as my friend, and I feel you are my friend, I think you should know that she is an emissary of them. And they see and hear through her eyes and through her ears. They want her to be bonded to me as a familiar, as I am supposed to have. But I having been bonded in a similar way to the demon, I do not wish to force that upon her without your permission or without hers, which is why I'm here.
This little ferret has been a boon to me over these past months.
I know.
But these past few weeks have taught me that I can be okay without her. I feel as if she's served her purpose for me, and if she would be more beneficial with you, who am I to keep her?
I appreciate you saying that, and I think that I think her place is with me. And at that point, I'll kind of reach out my hand. Nim kind of reaches out his hand to Feisty, and you can see the arcane energies that just kind of link between them before he pulls away again. But I think your goddess would also agree that having the eyes and ears of another deity with her servant may not be the best thing either.
She is a protective goddess. Perhaps that's why I haven't actually spoken to her since Feisty has been with me.
If you don't mind my asking, why do you serve her?
She chose me. She chose me at a very young age. One day, my father used to tell me the story. When I was a toddler, I ran into the fire, and, you know, as toddlers will do, I ran off. And most kids would have jumped back from the flames once they touched it, but I just had a comfortable seat and played with the logs. I liked the sparks. I liked to watch them fly. And from that moment, the lady has been with me. She has been protecting me. She has been showing me things. She tells me, she only speaks to me face to face at night, usually in flame, but she's always with me. She's always guiding me. Her guidance is but a moment away at any given time. So, you know, I have to keep my word. It's not the worst thing.
No, it doesn't. It's very honorable. I trust you, and I want you to know that our my god, the monad, and myself are one in our desire for balance, as your lady is, and we will do whatever it takes to restore the balance to this world that has been broken by this dark lady. Yeah?
And see.
I'm good.
I guess Nim decided to keep that gift.
Oh shit! Sorry. I will.
Oh, by the way, here's a rock.
I was like so into like her.
By the way,
I was like, I'll throw it through the window later. No, I will. He'll reach into his pocket and reach over across the table and hand her the stone that's in his pocket and say that I was given this as a gift from the dwarves, but the moment my fingers touched it, I knew it was not for me, but I did not know to whom it would be for until now. But I believe this is yours, and I believe that we are entrusted with each other, but have no debt to either of us. And I think with that, Feisty would run up his arm onto his shoulder.
I'll drink to that, Saunders says. Sips away.
Then scene.
Scene. There we go. That's why we need a director.
Yeah, good job.
Yeah.
Dorian, you are startled to see that the woman in the glade, who is bound to this tree, begins pulling herself out.
well,
Vines and tendrils rip from her flesh, her face still serene, still peaceful, as she stares directly at you, actually you, and says, "You are fortunate, child of many, that my anger was ripped from me. You should still flee."
I'm afraid I can't do that, actually. I actually sheathe my sword. Click. I need to have a little conversation with you, and the privacy helps, believe me. I'm here on, believe it or not, a mission of peace.
To anyone else, murdering someone in front of even somebody who's a deity might some reaction, but you don't sense any anger, any frustration, only peace and calm, but a determination as she inches ever closer, pulling herself. You can tell that there's pain as she's reaching towards the body of the dwarf you just murdered.
Would you believe that what I came here for is a gift to my dear friend here? I point to Akage's body. He has been so very dark in mood as of late. He has been off his game. He is a poor servant to you, and I
do know how you prize his service.
It's not his service that I prize. It's his blood. And she takes another step closer.
Now. It seems like my contacts were right. You really aren't even trying to hide it in front of me, are you? Dorian just starts circling around to get a good look at, like, how she's pulling herself away. What's behind her?
The tree looks like it's... The vines look more like chains now as she pulls further away from it, but you can see bright green blood flowing from her back.
You are very diminished, aren't you? My goodness.
In more ways than power. And you can see that now she's not even coming after you. She's very close to Akage's body as she begins to kneel over it.
If you're attempting what I hope you're doing, and that's mainly the reason I came here, could you put him back the way he was originally? It certainly makes him a more beneficial ally, and it will make him marginally happier. I'm not sure I've ever seen him smile once, but not everybody can be fixed entirely. I know here, I point to the grove, you are still extremely powerful, and I know now that my theory was correct. You're no fae of any kind. You're no dryad. You're no fae lord. You're some sort of
And then
remnant.
it clicks. Akage, your vision falls through the clouds. A dark, lightly stormy sea is beneath you, a small boat. Humans run back and forth. You see two prominent figures standing on the front of the bow. One is the merchant lord that you live with that we never gave a name to. His name is Dav. That name comes from the bump bucket. I'm going to take just a second for this to mention. It fits perfectly what Josh sent because of how we treated this character who has been the person you lived with this whole time and he's never come up. Give me just a second to pull up his
Oh goody.
It's
He was tagging your mom too, or just that was just
I was afraid you hadn't seen the additional stuff that he sent about.
Yeah,
we missed the mention of the bump bucket during Razbad's interlude. But
that wasn't a bump bucket name from anything. Josh has sent now. He's the Rito Bumfinger is one of his, and now Dav DAV. This is the Lord you've lived with.
Yeah.
He said a little backstory. For more info on Dav, he shows up spontaneously. No one can seem to determine who he is or where he came from. Nice guy. Doesn't seem to have any skills or passions. He just exists. Great conversationalist, yet adds nothing of great value to the situation or pressing issues at hand. Time seems to disappear in his presence, and when he parts ways, one can't seem to remember who or what was discussed.
He's an SCP.
Yeah. Dav.
what's a SCP?
Never mind.
Oh,
Back to the story. Akage, your vision falls on these two prominent figures. One is Dav, who you've not thought of for many, many episodes. The other is your mother. The boat seems to be quickly heading in a direction, a location you're not aware of. Dav walks up and places his hands on your mother's shoulder and says, I know leaving your son was hard, but I think you're doing the right thing. She turns around, looks the man in the face and goes, You wouldn't know what the right thing is, honey. And she jabs her finger into his eye and through his brain. His body goes limp, but it doesn't fall to the deck. You hear the screams and terror from the rest of the crew as creatures flood the vessel and begin to murder everyone on board. You wake up. You can see a stunned Dorian off to the corner, but more prominently you see the Glade. She has your mother's face. She is one half of the lady you've been searching for. The other half has possessed your mother. Be sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next week.
Damn it!
See you later.
What
That's
an
crazy.
ending. Holy cow.
I'm gonna have to listen to that like 5 times to kind of digest all of it.
Yeah, we dumped a lot. We dumped a lot
That was a
there.
lot in 30 seconds.
This is the hugest, greasiest info dump you've ever done.